G'day all you wonderful people, welcome to Adventure Together. My name's Al and today I am bringing you 10 tips from an Appalachian Trail thru-hiker part 3. If you haven't checked them out already, please check out the other two videos I've done in this series. One is on mental prep and the other one is on equipment tips. With these videos it's important to keep in mind that this is just my opinion gained from my experience on trail. Everyone's hike is individual to them and your hike will be individual to you, but these are just some of the things that I found on trail that might come in useful for you. So with that, let's just get this video kicked off. And the first tip that I've got for you is that you won't be alone for very long. If you don't want to hike alone, you will meet people very quickly. There are people on the trail all the way through. I don't think I went a day on trail without seeing somebody at least. And at the start, the trail will be pretty crowded and the shelters that you go to stay at for the first week or two will have a lot of people there and you will see the same faces over and over. It's easy to get conversation started because everyone's in the same boat as you. They're hiking and they don't really want to hike alone. Yes, there are some people that want to hike alone and that might even be you, but if you don't want to hike alone, you don't have to worry. A lot of other people will be out there to make friends. And for the most part, people on trail do want to team up with other people and make a tramily, so you won't be alone in that. Number 2 is that you can do the trail quite cheaply if you want to. It doesn't have to be as expensive as you think. When it comes to food, instead of buying the massively expensive dehydrated meals that some companies offer for hikers, you can go to the store and buy cheaper options. When it comes to gear, you don't have to kit yourself out with the most ultralight, expensive Dyneema stuff. You can go to Walmart and deck yourself out for a couple of $100 with the cheaper stuff, and if you want to, you can make it work. Obviously it won't have all the bells and whistles of something that's ultralight. It will be a bit heavier and it won't be as bespoke as some of the products those cottage industry manufacturers put out, but it can do you, and if you're determined to, you can get through the whole trail with quite cheap gear. When it comes to accommodation off trail, you can stay at hostels. Some hostels even allow you to camp in their yard. That will reduce the cost and you can use their bathroom facilities and their kitchen facilities if they've got them, and you'll pay a much cheaper rate. If you want to go into a motel because you want something a bit more cozy, then if you've got a large tramily, you can book one room and crowd a lot of people in and you can just sleep on your sleeping mat on the floor. It'll work out a lot cheaper if you're getting about 6 or 7 people in one room. So don't worry if your funds are limited, you can do it cheaper than you think. The third thing you should know on trail is that you will stink. Everyone will stink. Everyone around you will stink. Your gear will stink. Their gear will stink. Shelters will smell. Everything you have will smell. So don't worry about it. It's just something that you need to know. Everyone around you is going to smell, and it's going to be quite natural when you're hiking for hours and hours and hours, days upon days upon days without a shower, and you're wearing the same clothes every day. Your things will smell. So just get used to it. Just make sure you get that shower when you do hit town. My fourth bit of advice for you is that when you hit hot springs in North Carolina, just outside of the Great Smoky Mountains National Park, this might be a time to consider sending home all of your cold weather gear. You will have got out of the coldest part, which is the Great Smoky Mountains, and now you'll be hiking through warmer weather in lower elevation. My other suggestion is that you'll want that winter gear back just before you go into the White Mountains. The best place in my opinion to send it back to is Hikers Welcome Hostel in Glencliff. They are right opposite the post office, but the post office is only open 2 hours a day. So to avoid having to wait overnight when you don't plan to, you can just get it sent to the hostel. And even if you don't want to stay at the hostel, they allow you to send your packages there, and for $5 if you're not staying, you can pick them up. It is free to receive packages there if you are staying as well. When you leave the hostel, you'll be walking straight into the White Mountains National Forest, so this is where you'll want your winter gear back. If you're heading southbound, then obviously reverse what I've just said and send it home when you get out of the White Mountains and get them back at hot springs. Just keep in mind that this particular tip is a little bit arbitrary depending on the time of year and how cold it is. You might get out of the Smokies and it's still freezing cold, so just keep in mind that this might be a good place to think about sending it back, but if it's not, then keep them on you for a little bit longer. My fifth tip for you is to avoid post offices if you can. Just like I mentioned in the last tip about Glencliff Post Office having limited hours, a lot of the post offices located in rural areas do have very limited opening hours, and you don't want to have a package sitting in there and you can't access it because you got down there outside of their opening hours. Similarly, most post offices are shut on weekends and you don't want to walk in on a Friday night having missed their opening hours and have to wait till Monday morning. As well as the trouble with opening hours, post post offices do not accept packages from couriers like UPS or FedEx. They also don't accept packages from Amazon. So if you're ordering online, this can be difficult because a lot of retailers are going to be sending their packages out by FedEx or UPS. So what's the alternative? Where do you get your packages sent to? Well, try sending them to the next hostel or motel that you're planning to stay at. A lot of hiker-friendly hostels and motels will accept packages and hold them for you for a limited amount of time. So it's probably worth, when you book your accommodation for your town stay, just making sure that the place that you're staying might accept packages and you can have them sent there instead. Tip number 6 is that when it's cold weather and overnight, you might want to consider sleeping with your electronics and your water filter on you. Firstly, with your water filter, if it gets so cold that the water inside it freezes, it will make the filter unusable and you'll probably get very, very sick. So make sure that you keep your filter on you if it's going to be close to freezing. Sometimes it's not even possible to tell if your water filter has frozen. Sometimes you can tell the filter might get bloated and blow out from the sides and get a little bit bigger because the water is expanded. But if it has frozen and already cracked the filter membranes and then thawed, and you have a look at it the next morning, you might not be able to tell that it's broken and try to filter some water, and then that water that you've tried to filter isn't properly filtered and makes you very sick. So keep that filter on you and keep it warm at night. As for your electronics, you'll want to keep those close to your body and keep them warm at night because the battery power in them will be reduced when it's cold weather. So when it gets cold, keep those batteries close to you, keep your phone close to you, maybe in your quilt or in your pocket, and that will extend how long your batteries stay charged for. My 7th tip, quite a simple tip, and you might have this in mind already, but that is beware of cook times. You can waste a lot of fuel picking up something that looks like it's going to be quite nice to cook and have on trail. And then you get out to camp and you look at the cooking instructions and it says simmer for 20 minutes. You do not want to waste all of your stove fuel simmering something for 20 minutes. Have a look for products with quick cook times. There were quite a few products that I saw that looked delicious on some of the store shelves, like quinoa and herbed rice and things like that, that when I turned over the packet, it said simmer for 20 minutes. And I thought, I do not want to be wasting 20 minutes worth of fuel simmering this thing. So I always go on about them, the Knorr rice sides and the Barilla protein pasta. The Barilla protein pasta cooks in 4 minutes and the Knorr rice sides cook in 7. I've even found with the Knorr rice sides that once I get the water to boiling, I can put the rice in there and then just put the lid on and turn the gas off, and after leaving it, it rehydrates on its own. That way I don't have to waste a heap of fuel cooking it for 7 minutes each time. So when you go into resupply stores and you're looking for something to cook, make sure that you're looking at those cooking times. Number 8 is don't sleep in. This is something that I was guilty of for the first couple of weeks of the trail. When I started the Appalachian Trail in late March last year, it was dark in the mornings till about 7 o'clock, and I didn't get out of bed until the sun rose. This was a huge waste of time for me because I'd usually be out of camp about 8:30 in the morning once I'd had my coffee and breakfast and packed down all my stuff. Obviously, it's up to you, and if you feel well you want to sleep in and you don't want to get up when it's dark, don't get up when it's dark. But my suggestion is to get up slightly earlier in the morning, get up before sunrise, break camp, pack everything down, have your breakfast, and try to be out for 7. If you can extend the amount of daylight hours you have at the beginning of the season, then you'll be able to hike much more miles in a day. Don't forget, when it's cold and dark in the mornings, it's going to be cold and dark very early in the afternoons as well. So you don't want to be getting up and leaving camp at 8:30, 9 o'clock and reducing the amount of time you have hiking by an hour and a half or 2 hours when the evening's going to set in and you'll want to be in camp packed up by about 4:30. My 9th tip for you comes not from my own experience, but seeing the experience of others. When it came to the Shenandoah National Park, I stayed true to the path, but a lot of other people decided to aquablaze. And that was where they took a 3-day-long kayak trip through the Shenandoahs. Every single one of them said it was an amazing experience and they got to see such beautiful sights. Personally, if I could go back again, I would have done what those other hikers did, and I would have aquablazed through the Shenandoah National Park and got to see some of those beautiful things that they saw. So if you are not a purist and you don't feel you have to touch every white blaze on trail, maybe consider aquablazing if you do have the time and budget for it. And tip number 10 for you is to hike your own hike. It's important for you to keep your mind focused on your own hike. Don't be one of those people that gets stressed out worrying about what other people are doing. I saw so many people worrying and concerning themselves with what other people were doing. They were saying, oh, these people are yellow blazing, they're taking shuttles up the trail, they're not doing all of it. There's some people that are taking blue blazes instead of white blazes. It really doesn't matter to you. If you're a purist and you want to stay on the white blazes, then you stay on the white blazes. What other people are doing does not affect you. It does not make your hike any better or any worse just because somebody else is doing something different. How I see the Appalachian Trail now that I've finished it is that it is a route from Georgia to Maine in which you can make your own adventures. You can hang around with the people that you want to. You can camp at the spots that you want to camp. You can go into the towns that you want to. You can stay at the hostels that you want to. You can go and see what sites you want to see. The trail is just a collection of opportunities to make your own experience. Don't think that you have to do the same things as everybody who came before you. That's the beauty of this trail, is that you can make it your own. You can hike your own hike, go and see the things you want to see, and spend time where you want to spend time. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just hike your own hike. Because really, in the end, all that matters are the memories that you have from the trail. Whether you're just doing a section or you're doing the whole thing, feel free to follow all the blue blazes that you want to do. If you want to hike it your way, you hike it your way. So that's it, that's my list. I hope that you found it helpful. If you've got anything to add, please leave it in the comments down below and check out the other videos that I've got on this channel. If you like this video, please leave a like, consider subscribing, and feel free to share the channel with anybody that you know that likes camping, hiking and adventure travel. And for now, that's it from me. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you in the next one. If you haven't seen them already, go and check out the other two videos I've put out. One's on equipment and one is on, I can't even remember what the other one's on. What was it on? I can't remember.